just point this out. Since that means Apollo, Artemis just doesn't mean anything. Who the hell is like the extra of the? What's the 12 Olympians? Because Artemis is one of the 12 Olympians, and they're obviously not one of them. So what is it? Hestia? I think. Hello everyone, welcome to this Halloween stream / chapter review, thing. Thought I'd get dressed up because, it's the holiday season. This beard's quite itchy though, so we'll see how this goes. Abudi, you're always here first on streams, love to see you, man. What a beautiful chapter that was. Yeah, it was. Let me just, yeah, this was a, I think we were discussing this last stream about how long this fight would actually end up being. And yeah, it was I think this is the same length as round 3. So I think this is the joint shortest fight yet. But even if it's short, it's been an enjoyable, what's the word? Enjoyable fight. Ho ho ho, this is Christmas. Yeah, I look very Santa-like with my Leonidas beard on. Very itchy though, I'll tell you that much. I'm still workshopping this wig, it isn't finished, but Leonidas looks like a muscular Santa when I really think about it. He really does, doesn't he? So, for those watching, what did you think of the fight? Did you like the Apollo one? Is it who you were betting on? Are you sad Leonidas lost? For me, honestly, this is the first round where I've almost rooted for the gods as much as the human. Usually I'm always rooting for the humans because I always just like them all, but this is the first round where I love Leonidas, but I really love Apollo. He's quite possibly my favourite god, minus Buddha now. Absolute Chad. And yeah, the ending of this fight is quite well, considering it ends with like a big clash, which often, isn't really generally how these. Actually, maybe it does. Ignore what I was about to say. But what was that, Booty? I loved it. I put my stocks in the right man. I guess you did if you were rooting for Apollo, from which I'm pretty sure you were. But yeah, Apollo. He's broken the Greek pantheon, only getting L's kind of thing. Sorry, I've got I'm taking the beard off, guys. It's there we go. That's a bit better. But yeah, it's broken the trend. I guess technically Zeus did win his match, but we all know Adam really won that fight. So yeah, Apollo's finally been a Greek god to actually win his match, and presumably will be the final one to do so. I mean, it's possible Adamus fights, like that's obviously a possibility, or Hermes or something like that. But I think generally we're going to go under the assumption that Apollo is the final Greek god, so at least he got a 1. So yeah, the Jobber Pantheon beat the allegations. They did. We cannot call them frauds now. They are not the fraudulent ones. Well, Poseidon is, Hades is, and Heracles is. But Apollo escaped him. And obviously, but everyone still holding hope that we'd see Artemis. We kind of did. Artemis, didn't actually show up. We got his big stand weapon looking thing. Which is interesting because I was under the assumption we're not going to see Artemis, but at least she would still exist in the verse. But this seems to imply Artemis just doesn't exist, which begs the question: who the hell's in who are the 12 Olympians in universe then? Because Artemis is one of the 12 Olympians, and we obviously know we have 13 plus Animus. So what is Hestia one of the 12 instead of Artemis or something like that, or is the 12 just completely different? Because obviously we know, usually in mythology, with the exception of the big 3, they're all, Zeus's children. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong about that. But obviously in verse, it doesn't seem like Apollo is Zeus's child either, so obviously the pantheon's a bit different, but I don't know if we'll ever get it explored who the 13 Olympians actually are, like the whole roster. But it's curious Artemis isn't one of them. Hera probably isn't either because, the goddesses seem to get pretty shafted. It's just Aphrodite at sea. Adamus fighting would be so funny. Adamus fighting would be a meme because it's Adamus. But at the same time, I don't want it to happen because I don't. It's Animus. I don't want one of our fights to be wasted on Animus, to be completely honest with you. And at the same point, it does feel like if another god does them fighting, there aren't that many choices of the existing characters we have. So Animus is somewhat likely, which is very depressing. The artist said on Twitter they might open a channel, and I'd love if the artists made Greek gods that weren't showing people. Oh, that'd be awesome. I'd love to see their takes on I'd love to see their takes on like many different gods, not just Greek. But yeah, that would be. Yeah, let's hope that happens because that'd be really cool. I mean, even like we don't see much of it, but some of the concept art and stuff we've seen for Ragnarok is really cool as well. Some of the early designs, minus. I don't know if anyone's seen the Brunhilde and Gol like original like beta designs. They are horrendous. Bloody Brunhilde's got like the Pixar mum thighs. They're enormous, and Gol looks about 6 in like the skimpiest outfit possible. Very questionable designs, but it'd be cool if we one day get to see more of the beta design stuff because they're quite cool. I feel like Hermes is going to fight. Hermes is a top tier. I think whether he fights or not, we all know he is an absolute top tier. Well, he's stronger than Ares. As much as I love Ares, top Chad, he is an absolute bum and an absolute jobber if he ever actually fights. And we know Hermes is stronger. I don't know if I'd count Hermes being one of the ones to actually fight, but it would be pretty cool. But then he'd probably lose, so, the Greeks wouldn't completely escape the allegations. Where are we up to? I'd love a plot twist of Siegfried versus Rasputin. Siegfried Rasputin is an interesting take. I really have no idea what's going on with Rasputin. Not Rasputin, Siegfried. Like, assumably he does fight, considering he is the man who will shake up Ragnarok, would indicate he's involved in Ragnarok. But, it's so difficult to say if he's fighting for the humans, if he's fighting for the gods, will he fight at all. I really don't have many good predictions for Siegfried. I think him fighting Toki could be something. There's something there, but I really don't have many good ideas for Siegfried, I'm afraid. Apollo's weapon is definitely the best divine weapon we've seen so far. Well, Apollo's weapon is like the first one that isn't just like a spear or a hammer or something. So it looks cool. Like it's a giant statue looking thing, which is pretty cool. And he actually uses the bow. I think we were all convinced at this point that Apollo just wasn't going to use a bow. So that's interesting. So now Apollo won't, Simo will not be our first ranged fighter because technically Hermes has his bow, which is pretty cool. The weapon overall just is really sick. Almost as sick as Leonidas's. I don't know what it is about it, but Leonidas is like, what was it called? Let me just pull this up. There's a specific name for a shield. What was it again? It was 1 minute if I can find this. While this slowly loads. Where are we up to? Have I gone too far in the chapter? No. God. Where is... sorry, my computer's taking forever to load the chapter. Just trying to pull it up. I just want to know the name of his goddamn shields. And it is Elysia Sparta. That's it. Shield of Truth. Yeah, I love. I love Leonidas' like true shield. It's so cool. Also, this Leonidas costume wearing. This is part of a cosplay that I am working on, which I can't finish because we don't actually have official colours for his belts or his knee pads, so I can't do those. But now I don't know whether to do his normal shield or do his final shield because it's really cool. But I love the shield. The shield is one of my favourite things. I don't know why, it just looks sick, and I love Artemis. They're both two of my favourite divine weapons. But in terms of which one's like cooler, it's got to be Artemis. Artemis is just, it's just such a cool thing. It's not. I just like the bow. The bow And can we all agree how raw it was when it just zooms out and and then you just go from the crowd to the hole to just, Leonidas just like, oh, I've just been shot straight through. Absolutely Chad. Where are we up to? I am falling behind these comments. I love his colour palette, his personality, his fighting style. I've hated how people dissed him for looking too similar to Hades and Poseidon, almost like they're all related. Yeah, the Greek, it's like gods in Ragnarok all somewhat look fairly similar to begin with the exception of like Shiva. They all just kind of look like sexy dudes. And like in terms of the Greek gods, they all look similar, but they all have very distinct designs. And I love Apollo's. Apollo's design is great. It might be my favourite design of a god, to be completely honest with you. I think it's really cool. I'm so sure Simo is going to fight Apollo. Yeah, Lord Scott, I think most people were. It was before round 9, I'd say it was the most agreed upon fan matchup that we had, which is obviously not the case anymore. And the fact that's been thrown out the window kind of makes some more... Well, it's not even just that this threw that out. It also threw Odin versus Leonidas out the window, which was another very popular matchup. So the only big, really popular one now is Rasputin versus Anubis, which I before was pretty sure would happen, but now I'm quite iffy on it because, well, if Simo versus Apollo didn't happen, everyone thought that was guaranteed. We often, I think, take for granted how much we think the connections in our head make sense for matchups rather than what the author's actually intending. Because I don't think anyone expected Leonidas and Apollo to fight due to Apollo kind of being the reason Leonidas couldn't go to war or something. Like, no one was predicting that, so it's really hard to work out the backstories between the characters and stuff. So, I opened my eyes a bit that, okay, I'm probably pretty wrong in most of my predictions. The rose gold hair is such a nice touch, along with the piercings, gives off the motif he's more progressive than the other gods. Yeah, when he was first revealed, I was like, okay, he's gonna have blonde hair, he's gonna look, just the same as Poseidon hair colour, and I'm glad it's not. I think it really fits him. His design is amazing. Might cosplay him. I don't know. Might be the first god I want to cosplay is Apollo. Where are we up to? Shield is called List of Truth. Yes, it is. Yeah, it took me forever to find that. But yeah, I love that shield. That shield is sick. Though we don't have official colours for that shield, and I don't know if we ever, until the anime ever adapts round 9, I don't know if we'll get official colours, because I don't know if we'll see that on any of the covers for the volumes. I don't know. We're up to... Is Hellenized crazy how Girl got shattered to pieces by Apollo's punch? Yeah, I just thought about that. Yeah, she got absolutely destroyed there. You sometimes forget that the weapons are the Valkyries. Yeah, that's a really brutal way to go. Which is a shame, because she's one of my favourite Valkyries. I think a lot of people are a big fan of her. She's a bit of a change of pace with the Valkyries. But, she dead, so what we're going to do? Still crossing my fingers for Simo versus Odin. Simo versus Odin would be cool. I think it really just depends. I don't know, but the thing with Simo is, where a lot of us are assuming Simo is a top tier, it is possible Simo isn't one of the stronger fighters. I think it is possible. I don't know if he's going to be the top tier. I don't know. And if... I don't know. As I just said, we don't know matchups at all. So, I think Simo versus Odin can be a really cool match. Obviously not my matchup. If you want to know my personal picks, watch the Let's Ragnarok video on the channel, which is my predictions. But yeah, it could be a cool fight. Anubis is going to be so amazing no matter who he fights. Anubis is going to be amazing if he has a jackal head, which I think is really 50-50. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, obviously he'll have a jackal head, but I'm like, this is Ragnarok. It is completely possible. He just won't... He'll just be a guy. Calling it now, round 10 is going to be Okita versus Loki. Are we here on the Okita cope? Now, Okita's just not going to fight at this point. He's been around since, round 4? He's just going to keep... That's mad. He's been around since round 4. I guess Loki's been around since round 2? Yeah, Loki's been around since round 2 as well. But yeah, obviously, again, in my matchup video, Okita vs Loki isn't my preferred Loki and Okita matchup, but I think it is one of quite a likely fight, so it could be next. But I have a feeling I don't think Okita's fighting next match. I think Rasputin's fighting next match. I've got no basis for this, but that is my prediction. We're going to get Rasputin fight next. Monthly code of Okita fighting next. Yeah, every single time. I remember beginning around 9, some leakers were like, oh yeah, it's 100% confirmed, Okita's fighting. Yeah, he didn't. And I'm pretty sure people going about Okita fighting, is definitely going to happen, at the beginning around 8 as well, so it just seemed like it's just not going to happen. Surely he's got next. It's been six years, and what has he done? Not much. Yeah, but so yeah, I assume most people seem to have enjoyed the fight. Any Leonidas fans salty that Apollo won, or I guess the more question is anyone annoyed with how it ended? Because I know with some rounds people feel like I'm not one of them, but I know a lot of people think round 7 has a bit of an ass pull of an ending with Qin Shi Huang pulling his sword out and stuff. I think the ending of this is pretty cool. It's just a big manly clash, and at the end the one stronger than the other. It's just simple as that. And I might be remembering this wrong, but don't 1 minute. I did read the chapter before stream again, but my memory isn't the greatest. It's also pretty fun that what am I looking for? Yeah, good break. Trying to remember this. Oh yeah, this is brutal. I'm just looking at the kill shot again, and you just see our poor Valkyrie, our poor angry Valkyrie, literally shatter into pieces on panel. What the hell? Bloody hell. But yeah, they also go on about his back a lot at the end. The back shots are real. I think the Leonidas back shots are one of my favourite memes of round 9. Which is fun. I'm curious though with whoever's fighting next. I always love their monikers. Obviously Leonidas was human history's greatest rebel, and also the greatest back in history. That's pretty fun. I think this time it's Okita 100%. He's definitely going to be more fire. We can say it's going to be Okita every round. It's never going to happen. Okita is just never going to fight. It would be in character for him to just run straight to the arena without caring for Brunhild. I feel it's in character for a lot of these fighters to just fight anyway, because Sasaki just stepped onto the I'm fighting. Nostradamus keeps moaning about wanting to go fight, and knowing him he probably would. Leonidas was like, I'm only fighting last or thing. None of them are doing what she says anyway. They're all just arseholes. For the fact that humanity is, on the brink, most of these fighters don't seem to care that much about, doing it properly or finding the right matchups. They just want to fight by the looks of it. Just finished reading the chapter. Don't know if it was a mistranslation, but it said Apollo's arrows are made of light. That would mean everyone, at least on Apollo's level, is fast and light. Look, if we're going... Yeah, they probably are light. That probably is technically a fast and light feat. But if there's one thing Ragnarok does well, it has stupid feats that don't line up to anything. Remember, Mjolnir can destroy continents? What? So... it's stuff like that. A lot of shit like that just doesn't really... Statements don't always seem to match up with things. You can definitely... light speed, but obviously we have Adam surpassing the speed of time. So, I don't know, I wouldn't just scale every character to be fast and light now, because the manga, in terms of its power scaling in relation to physics, they don't seem to be that serious about it, but I'm not going to try. My power scaling for Ragnarok is only of which characters beat which others, not calcs and stuff, but I'm sure you could wank these characters up some pretty rapid speeds if you wanted to do the fast and light stuff. Apollo dominated from the beginning. Yeah, if you go... Which really makes Apollo an absolute beast, because for most of the match he is dominated. I guess it comes down to a lot. Leonidas is Leonidas is very tanky. Apollo not so much. Leonidas gets hit a lot and a lot more times than Apollo. But when Apollo does get hit, he tends to go down to his knees. On the few times he gets hit, whereas Apollo is just tanking this shit. So it's clear which is more durable. But Leonidas... Yeah, Apollo's just more skilled, he's faster, and when he does hit, they hit like a truck. but I wouldn't say it's like an Apollo wash the whole way through. I think when Leonidas gets his hits in, they are proper strong hits. Uh, I'd say it's more even than some people give it credit for. But remember, Leonidas is definitely one of the stronger humans, just because on the basis that he was one of the three that Brunhild was like considering to fight Poseidon. Not to say he beat Poseidon or anything like that, but like when you're confronted with the Zeus of the sea and you immediately think of three fighters, those three are probably some of the stronger ones. So I guess that just raises Apollo stocks even higher. Wouldn't surprise me if he's like close to Poseidon, if not on par with him in terms of the Greek gods. I want my murder Herbert to fight. Look, I'm a massive Okita fan too. I want him to fight. But at the same time, I think it's really funny if he just doesn't keep fighting. I think it'd be funny if he's the final fighter. Does that really piss people off? Because, nobody likes Okita, apparently. Apollo's boxing was so much fun. The choreography is exceptional in his battle. Yeah, that's one thing. Don't get hair stuck in my mouth. One thing I will say about the fight is the choreography. Amazing. When Apollo brought out his boxing, I was so happy because, like, a lot of the gods are gods of various things, but the manga usually only seems to only focus on like one of them. But for Apollo, they've really focused on his archery, his prophecies, his boxing, the style, all sorts. And I think that's a really fun. I think that's really fun. It makes for a more interesting fight, especially with Leonidas' shield turning into all manner of different weapons. I think it just on a visual aspect was a very creative fight, especially considering that at the end of the day, it was just brawling for the most part, which I think says a lot about the Round 9 fight-wise, besides the themes and stuff. Anime Master, remember, they said Apollo is the fastest god outside of Zeus. Yeah. So Apollo is just wicked quick. Let's just hope there's no speed gods. Like, there are... Savitar's what? Hindu god of speed? Something like that. They're just slow Apollo. But where up to? Leonidas back shots, and he has such a grab waist. Yeah, Leonidas had those back shots. I love the back shots. I will definitely put some back shot memes in when we do the round 9 analysis, which I have started. Well, I've got my bullet points going down. I want to make this a very good video, so I don't know when exactly it'll be out, but I am working on the round 9 analysis. So that'll be fun. I imagine the gods sending Odin, forcing Nostradamus to come out. I think it'd be really interesting if Odin comes out like sooner rather than later. Like we all expect him to be either the final or the penultimate fighter for the gods. But it would be pretty wicked if he does a Zeus and just rocks up in the next round. And if he does, I assume Brunhild would send Nostradamus to fight him. He does seem to be the strongest remaining human. I'm not saying he is, but based on the knowledge we have, Nostradamus seems to be the strongest. It would be a twist for Brunhild to reveal her Joker so soon. Yeah. The thing is, what does she mean by him being a Joker? Like, because him being the Joker would indicate it's either there's some kind of risk to it, or there is some kind of he's not expected to be that strong. But yeah, that's kind of weird. Why is he the Joker? Because presumably the gods know he destroyed the Bifrost. They were the one who banished him, so they presumably know he's really strong. So I'm not entirely sure why he is the Joker. Or if that was just, that's just his moniker. Leonidas' history's angriest Potter. I do enjoy the Leonidas memes. My crackhead guest, Nostradamus vs Anubis. Yeah, I'd like that. That would be that'd be a really fun matchup. Yeah, I talk about all these matchups in my matchup video, but that's probably my second favourite Nostradamus matchup, behind Loki. What was your favourite panel in the fight? Oh, that is a hard one. I really like the We Are Sparta panel, but it's probably the panel. It's at the end of 81, I want to say. I could be wrong. It's the one where basically Apollo gets knocked down to the ground and like Leonidas is standing over him and basically saying, this happens when you stand in front of Sparta. That one. I don't know what is it. I think it's such a sick ending to the chapter. That, or the final panel of Leonidas' flashback of him, charging into battle covered in scars, and where it talks about his death. I really like that scene as well. But then, Apollo has some really good ones. There's a really good scene, panel of Apollo boxing. I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's one of those I really like. And I like the final clash panel of the two of them charging each other. I think that's really cool. Abudi, my favourite was Apollo holding the bow. Yeah, that was sick as well. There was just the artwork in this last chapter was amazing. If we take the statement about Lubu being the physically strongest human, Apollo wouldn't survive a match against him since he was almost seeing stars after one hit from Leonidas. Yeah, I don't know how much stocks I put in statements like Lubu was the physically strongest human, because at the same time it says Raiden has the strongest muscles. So, just I know. Yeah, so what's the difference between having the strongest muscles and being the physically strongest? I don't know. Lubu's an interesting one, because I'd say Thor is definitely one of the strongest gods. I'd say he's probably top 5. But it's hard to scale Lubu and Thor, I find. I find the two of them are fairly difficult to scale. I don't know, though. The thing with Lubu versus Apollo is Apollo's fast. So basically, as long as Apollo can avoid Lubu and then pull out Artemis, he should win, in theory. I don't know if Lubu would be able to do a Leonidas and deflect the arrows on instinct. That's an interesting one. That is an insane feat of Leonidas, though. Deflecting stuff on instinct, that's really cool. Where are we up to? If Adam used Divine Reflection, would he copy Apollo's weapon? I want to say he can to an extent. We obviously don't really have much evidence for this. But I guess the two things that would indicate he can is, number one, when he fights the serpent, he grows claws. And when at the beginning of round 2, where he asks if Zeus is going to use a weapon, and obviously Zeus no, and Adam's okay, that might be a mistake, that should imply then that he would still be able to fight Zeus if he had a weapon. Because why would you say that if you were shitting yourself if you used a weapon? So based on that, I'd say he probably can. I'd say he can counter weapons. I don't know to what extent he'd copy them. I don't know what he'd do about bow, but I'm still of the opinion Adam is the strongest human, and I think he beat the majority of the gods on the roster. I don't think he beats all of them. I think there's definitely some that counter him, or just I think there's definitely some that beat him. But I would say his ability probably does work, but I'm not entirely sure. The remaining humans should be the strongest. Yeah, the remaining humans should be the strongest narratively, minus Adam. Well, I guess because Zeus was the strongest god. That was just flat out said. So, and I think that's one of the fun parts of round 2, that the two strongest of the respective sides just kind of come out fight. I think that's pretty fun. But out of the remaining humans, I guess I'd say Kintoki has a good shot at being the strongest human. I say this I'm going to reference again my Master video. I do think Kintoki being the final human fighter is quite likely, but I'm not entirely sure who's the strongest going to be. We very well could have, apart from Adam, we very well could have seen the second and third strongest humans already, because at the end of the day they only have to scale to the gods. And you might say, well, Odin's obviously really strong, but Odin could win his match. So, very difficult to say. Adam and Apollo boxing match would look like a Hajime no Ippo chapter. Yeah, that would be pretty fun. I mean, by that sense, why didn't we get what human would I want to box? I guess Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali would get Muhammad Ali on the roster, getting boxing against Apollo. That'd be pretty fun. Piccolo versus Hades, who is the strongest Demon King. I'm assuming if we're going off the light speed, I don't know actually, because Master Roshi is weaker than Demon King Piccolo, and Master Roshi can destroy the moon. I don't know. Someone have to run that scaling by me. I think you can scale Wreck of the Ragnarok higher based on feats, but I'm not entirely sure. Siegfried is probably going to be the strongest human. Yeah, if Siegfried fights for the humans, he might not. I mean, he's a demi-human, but I guess Kintoki's also a demi-human, so hard to say. I really do not know where Siegfried goes in the story from here on. I'm really not entirely sure what his role in the story is going to be. So I think it's possible, but I really couldn't say. Speaking of Kintoki, a friend of mine said there's a chance Kintoki would fight Susanoo. About 75% chance due to a family dispute from Shinto mythology. Yeah, I mentioned this in my matchup video. It's in some myths, it's not in all of them. In some of the myths, Kintoki's father is a red lightning dragon, which is quite often said to be Raijin, who is the Shinto god of thunder, lightning, stuff like that. And he is brothers with Susanoo, which if the manga goes by that chain of mythology, then it would make Susanoo Kintoki's uncle, which I think would be very fitting for the final match, because obviously the humans were made in God's image, so they're almost like the children of the gods in a way. So if the final match is literally a family relation between the final god being the literal uncle of the final human fighter, and the final human fighter, if it's Kintoki, would then also be a demi-human, which would be bridging the gods and the humans together, and it'd be like a final family fight. And it can almost not, at that point it might not be even malicious, because the gods are gaining more and more, respect for one another. So it could end up with just being like a family fight, a bit like Baki. I don't know. I think it's quite likely. It also with, Gol, Kintoki's also like a symbol of children gaining courage and bravery. So him being like the partner for Gol makes a lot of sense. And Gol is probably going to be the final Valkyrie. I think it'd be weird if she wasn't. So a lot of things kind of click into place with that. But obviously, Kintoki, he could not fight at all. He could die on the way to Tartarus, which I'm not a big fan of, but I know some people think that might happen, so it is a possibility. I wonder who out of the Valkyries we have seen so far is the strongest by themselves. I'm curious. I'm not entirely sure what the combat ability of the Valkyries are outside of the Lord. I'm really not sure. You could maybe guess on like physicality, but if I had to guess, it'd probably be Brunhild. It would make sense, but I'm not entirely. I don't know how strong any of them are, to be completely honest with you. Siegfried versus Kintoki, battle between the demi-humans. Yeah, I think that's another likely final matchup. I'm really on the Kintoki final fighter train, but if the final match is, a demigod on demigod, it is like the most. It's gods fighting on both sides and humans fighting on both sides, so I think that'd be quite cool. I mean, who is the strongest? Oh, the strongest Demon King as a narrative connection between the two, not who's strongest. Oh, if we're not going like literal power scaling, Demon King Piccolo, I'd say. The reason being that although Hades isn't really much of a Demon King in a way. He is the ruler of the realm, but he's not like evil incarnate or anything, which is what I always interpret Mao or Demon King with being, the leader of evil, if that makes sense. And that is something Piccolo really embodies, considering Piccolo literally is the embodiment of the nameless Namekian's evil and his negative emotions. So definitely Piccolo, in my opinion. Imagine if next arc we cut to Kintoki invading Tartarus to release Siegfried from prison. Would be an awesome side arc. I assume we're going to get that at some point, or maybe at the very least we're going to see some of Kintoki's adventures towards Tartarus. Whether he actually frees Siegfried or not, I think that's a different matter. I'm not entirely sure if we will, how it will go down. I mean, Solomon could do stuff. We obviously know Solomon's been mentioned, so Solomon could make an appearance here. Hard to say. Kintoki 1v72 is the record Ragnarok version in Musashi 1v70. I'm not entirely sure what that means. Kintoki 1 version 72 is the record version of Musashi 170. Could you clarify? Sorry if I'm missing something really, really obvious here. Record of Sakata, Buddha's errand boy. Yeah, it'd be a side. Yeah, get the Kintoki spin-off manga where he's just doing errands for Buddha. I don't know why Buddha and Kintoki of all people are friends. It's a bit of a weird one, but there you go. I'm trying to think, is there anything else about the chapter I really want to highlight? Oh yeah, the big thing, which is what I'd say is quite possibly the biggest theme of the fight is obviously beauty. Apollo, obviously, before the match starts, is talking about how he hoped the fighters who died had beautiful deaths. And obviously, when Leonidas dies, he kind of seems to shed away his anger. He seems to shed away his anger rather than what's the words? He sheds away his anger and becomes beautiful in Apollo's mind, like Sparta in general. So it's almost like, even though the Spartans were seen as warlike and violent, especially with them, forsaking Apollo's words and going to war, in the end, Apollo comes to realise that, he was beautiful in the end, that there is beauty even in, like, what generally is seen as violence and ugliness. Something like that. I need to really get it into better words for the video, but that is generally what I'm thinking, and I think that's pretty cool. Also, especially, the really thing I really enjoy is that even in his death, all of the Spartan see is just his back. I think that's really, really cool. What are we up to next? 1 versus 72. Mizashi 1v70. The Yoshioka school. Yoshioka's higher. Well, where are we up to? Sonu, hi. Yes, we got the Leonidas cosplay on. It's Halloween. It's Halloween, so you might as well get into cosplay. It's also, the death of our boy Leonidas. So, yeah, had to get the right look on for it. I'd say the theme of the fight is duty. But obviously, yeah, there's multiple themes to the fight. Duty is, I think, another. I guess duty. There's a lot going into it. I think beauty is a big aspect of it. I think duty, obviously, is a big aspect of it. And there's another big one. Almost like... Yeah, that's what I'm curious about. And there's definitely a connection there, but I need to really think about it. Obviously, Apollo's perseverance from being a nobody to becoming a great god. I'm sure there is some kind of parallel to Leonidas there that I haven't... Some of the questions I need to reread everything and bullet point. But there's quite a few intersecting themes going across the fight, which I think is very fun. I assume you're not caught up to Vagabond. No, I'm not caught up to Vagabond. It's like 3 mangas along on my list. So I kind of was half assuming that was a Vagabond thing, because there's not many stuff Musashi is... I don't know, Musashi's in a lot of stuff. Sorry for not getting it. I will hopefully finally get onto reading Vagabond soon enough. Musashi in Vagabond. Adam versus Apollo. I'll get that in a minute. Adam versus Apollo versus Beelzebub. Who would have the biggest OnlyFans? Well, I'd assume nobody'd be looking at Adam's OnlyFans, because that's just incest, guys. Why would we be looking at our dad's stuff? That's fucking weird. Apollo versus Beelzebub. Apollo. It's obviously Apollo. I don't think there's any question there. Beelzebub, yeah, but Apollo, obviously Apollo. Musashi in Vagabond fought all 70 members of the Yoshioka school single-handedly. I'm comparing Kentucky going to fight all 72 demons of Solomon single-handedly. That would be sick. That would be... If we get Kentucky just doing the gauntlet against 72 demons, that would be sick. And then fighting Solomon. Also, why the hell is Solomon down there? Like... I think I'm taking for granted that Solomon will just be human in regular Ragnarok. He very well could be a demon or something, or not, or a demi-human or something. But yeah, that's pretty fun. Isn't Solomon also like the big bad of Fate Grand Order? I'm pretty sure Solomon is too. Just unrelated. Yeah, but going back to the OnlyFans, what's wrong with you people talking about Adam having the OnlyFans? Ridiculous. Oh, that's another thing I wanted to find. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Well, mate, we're going back to favourite panels. There was a panel in the last chapter that's absolutely hilarious. If I can find it. Where was it? It was near the start of the chapter, I think. Where was it? Just have to quickly go over this chapter and find this goddamn panel I'm looking for. Where is it? Where is it? I can't seem to find it. That's annoying. That's annoying. Oh, I found it. It's can I pull up screen record quickly? This panel here. You're a twisted motherfucker. That's exactly what you are. I fucking hate you. That panel is godly. Love that panel. Back on stream. Yeah, absolute top tier panel that. Beelzebub is lame, not the type to have an OnlyFans. Beelzebub wouldn't run one himself. We all know about that. He's bloody weirdo. To be fair, everyone loves the emo golf aesthetic. I think Beelzebub has a chance. I think Beelzebub definitely has a chance. I just don't think he'd ever start on OnlyFans. And, you know, I've only got eyes for Apollo if we're going by the gods. I can't wait to see the volume extras of Leonidas and Apollo wearing various outfits like Chin and Hades. Yeah. Because we've seen Leonidas in this Hawaiian shirt, which is a look and a half. Speaking of outfits, actually, something I'm surprised was never touched on is, like, assuming the reason Leonidas is wearing, like, the kind of, the modern combat gear, like, I think we all made the connection that it's because he's still been studying warfare, even to modern times, even after death, a bit like Sasaki, you know, mastering the sword. But it never gets brought up, so it's obviously, I think it's just a visual thing that you can draw a conclusion from. But it was something I expected to get brought up, that he's just been training ever since, but it just never did. Beelzebub is definitely the biggest loser of the gods in terms of sense of self. We've got a few Beelzebub haters here, but you know, he's gloomy emo, isn't he? My favourite volume extra was Beelzebub and Tesla wearing the Kandora, traditional Arab clothing, and different kinds of drip is fascinating. Yeah, Tesla is drippy as hell. Yeah, I love Tesla's drip. The drippiest thing Tesla wears actually is his what's the word? His like lab coaty thing he wears before his round, before he puts on his big armor, which I was at Comic Con this last weekend, cosplaying Tesla. I cosplayed his lab coat look, and also his armoured. Was on stage, 3,000 people, pretty cool fun stuff. It's on my Instagram. My point is that until you wear what Tesla wears before the match, you don't realize how flipping weird it is. It's such a weird, impractical lab coat. It's strange. It's a bloody weird outfit he wears. But yeah, it's bizarre. If Wukong was in regular Ragnarok, would he be on the gods team or humanities? I'd assume the gods, just based on the fact that like nearly every single god wanted humanity dead. There's not many that were on the side of letting the humans live. So I'd say he'd probably be with the gods. But he's probably friends with Buddha, so I don't know. If Beelzebub was real, he would be in jail for experimenting on kids. I think if most of the gods were real, they'd be in jail, because most of them commit pretty horrible crimes. Where are we up to? Beelzebub reminds me a lot of Zerf from Fairy Tail. They look similar and basically have the same backstory. I'll take your word for it. I haven't watched Fairy Tail yet. It's on my list, trust me. Do you read Kenkaiji? I have not. Again, on my list, but I haven't got around to it yet. Sorry, guys. Match idea: Eros, the Greek version of Cupid, versus Robin Hood. Theme: love, or how the ones that are loved by many deal with relationships themselves. That would be interesting. I think Robin Hood would be a very cool matchup. That's something we talked about this a few streams ago. You guys got to remind me about this. I want to try do a fan roster stream where we, as a stream, put together a fan roster for both gods and humans. So I'm going to try remember that, and we're going to try do that at some point soon. Yeah, we're going to do that at some point soon. So yeah, there's no way someone as unpredictable and thrill-seeking as Wukong wouldn't join Mecha the Ragnarok. Yeah, I think if he exists in verse, I guess the kind of thing is, how was the god roster selected? Assumably Zeus just picked it, like, because Apollo didn't seem that enthusiastic about fighting. He was just kind of told he was on the roster. So I don't know how the roster. I don't know if Wukong could just kind of rock up and say I'm fighting. I guess Hades did that though, actually. So probably. Any Majo updates? I have not read much Majo since last stream. I finished the 4th fight, the Mary Reed fight, which was that was a really fun fight. I really enjoyed that. It was a shorter fight. It was against, what's her name? During the war, she was she was like a big dancer and stuff like that. Not dancer, but like an entertainer and stuff. But then both sides, the Axis and the Allies, tried to use her as a spy, and then because of that, she ended up becoming what's the word? Yeah, it didn't end well for her. So she fought Mary Reed, who had like a split personality, Van Bonnie, which I found was really sad actually. But I was really rooting for Mary Reed in that fight. I'll say that much. Round 7 just ended, and we're going to see Mona Lisa versus Bonnie Parker next. That sounds like a really fun idea. Bonnie Parker historically is really cool. Mona Lisa is. I didn't know Mona Lisa was on the roster. And to be fair, I haven't looked much about the roster. I've been trying to keep myself a bit of mystery before the matches. So that's going to be fun. So that is a fire idea. I assume that's in relation to the stream idea. So yes, we're definitely going to do that. Matahari. That's it, Matahari. That's what I meant. Yeah. It was a pretty raw fight. Pretty enjoyed it. Round 3 was because I hadn't finished round 3 last stream. Round 3 was pretty cool too. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, it's another manga called Majo Tensei or Tensai, and it's basically just regular Ragnarok but with women historical figures fighting instead. It's very good. Highly recommend it. I feel like if Wukong was a regular Ragnarok, he would rebel like Buddha just for the fun of it. He would definitely be a very jokery, like kind of do whatever kind of type character, which I think would add a fun energy. I mean, it's completely possible he's the extra god fighter and he just randomly rocks up to fight. I don't know if we get an extra god fight there'll be a new character or not. I know we had that with Hades, but Hades at least had been established as a character already in verse through the Poseidon flashback. So I don't know, it'd be interesting. Where are we up to? Thank you for giving me such. Do you think Adam could have beaten Kronos, and do you think Poseidon could? We have so little to go on for how strong Kronos was. He lost to Zeus. Some people say that's Prime Zeus, and that version of Zeus is stronger than current Zeus. I don't know. We don't really know how gods age, really. Considering Zeus is the youngest of his brothers and he looks the oldest, I don't think it's that he's just gotten old and weak. I would say Zeus currently is about as strong as Zeus has ever been. So based on that, I'd say Adam probably could win. It's a big thing. It just really depends a lot on endurance. Because that's really what the Adam Zeus fight came down to. Adam's human body just gave out and it couldn't keep up with Zeus's divine body. So as Kronos as a Titan, does he have even better endurance? I think that's what it comes down to a lot. And Poseidon, again, we don't know much about Kronos. He's called the Zeus of the sea, so he should be somewhat similar to Zeus in power. So maybe, but obviously we know so little about Kronos at this point. Cleo versus Himiko is fucking peak. Yeah, I really enjoyed that match. That match was sick. The ending is great. I don't want to spoil the ending for anyone who hasn't read it yet, but really fun. And Himiko is definitely one of my favourites too, of the people we've read so far. I meant Baki, sorry. Oh, you talking about my so it's introspective on Baki, yeah. I'm glad that people have really been enjoying the Baki content on the channel recently. For those who haven't seen it yet, I did put out like an hour and a quarter long video on Baki himself and his character arc throughout the series, which I'm very proud of. I think it came out really well, and it's nice to see that people are very on board with thinking a bit more open-mindedly about Baki, because I think Baki's a phenomenal series, especially at the moment. The current chapters are really interesting. We've got the reintroduction of some characters we haven't seen in ages, and I'm really interested to see where the story goes. I like to think Hermes chose the roster, and maybe him and Brunhilde planned. Also, Hermes is the mastermind. I do like that Hermes is the secret big bad fairies, they're quite fun. But him planning the roster, because obviously, don't forget, we do have the weird scene of him, much like how Brunhilde was doing tributes to all of the dead fighters. We see it just before round 9, we see it after Tesla's death. We see something very similar, I want to say, after round 5? We see Hermes do a very similar thing. So there's definitely something going on there. So that's very interesting. Where are we up to? I like to think Hermes chose the roster. Yeah, we've done that. Zeus has awful skincare. He doesn't exfoliate. Yeah, man's just, yeah, man's just not trying. He doesn't give a shit. He likes the old man look, I guess. Not gonna lie, I think Wukong will fight Buddha because of Myth. What, you think Buddha's gonna have another fight? That's very optimistic. I guess if we get this final war that some people want to happen for some reason, that could happen then. I headcanon Aphrodite pesters Hades to try beauty products with her, and that's why he has such good skin. No, I have no issues believing that. I think that's very logical. Why am I getting ads on the stream? I have no idea why you're getting ads on the stream. Are ads turned on for the stream? I didn't know ads could appear on the stream. Sorry, let me have a quick look. Ads. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. I can't see anything about ads. If ads are appearing, sorry about that. YouTube is YouTube at the end of the day. It's a pretty ruthless platform that's not very nice to its creators or its viewers. Did you read Baki Rayhan? I am. Yeah, I've been reading it. Very good stuff. I'm curious to see what's the word? Because I'm curious to see what kind of plot line we're going to be working towards. Is it going to be towards Jack fighting Baki, or Jack versus Yujiro, or I'm curious to see. I assume it's going to be Jack related, so I'm curious about that. I checked out Majo. I've never heard of a single god or historical figure, so I'm not very interested right now. Fair enough, that is fair. I guess it depends a lot on... Yeah, I guess it depends if you read... The reason I read Ragnarok initially is because I was very interested to see some of the human fighters. With Majo as well, when I glanced over the roster, I don't think there was any on there I wasn't aware of. I am a bit of a history buff though, so I think the average person wouldn't know the majority of the fighters in that series. But yeah, I would recommend it. It's quite good. I wouldn't say it's as good as Ragnarok in its storytelling, but it's still quite early in the series, so I think that can definitely expand, improve as the series goes on. I hope I'm here for the fan roster stream because I have a whole roster myself still working. Don't worry, I will. Sorry that I only scheduled this stream 2 days before. The chapter came out. I was like, oh shit, and today's just the only day this week I could do it. So, I would have rather done this later in the week, but this is the only day I could do. So sorry about that. But yeah, I will give a week's warning for the fan roster stream because I'm getting hyped up for it. Is Zeus the youngest out of his brothers in the canon mythology? Yeah, in canon, what's the word? In Greek mythology, he is the youngest of Kronos' children, and in Record of Ragnarok is also stated that he is the youngest brother. So in both, he is the youngest. First time I experienced it, it's odd. Is that in relation to Majo? Tyson, you want to clarify for that, Abudi. Is Buddha actually strong, or does he just have an absurd amount of self-confidence? I think he's strong. I don't think he's beating, like, Odin or Zeus or anyone like that. But his future sight that thing is just a really hacks ability, and he has some. It's like, if we're talking current Buddha with the Zero Sword, I think he's insanely strong. I hope Jack vs Katsumi happens. My top two favourite characters going at each other. Jack vs Katsumi would be such a sick fight. I wouldn't see Katsumi winning that fight though. Just because obviously the story's quite. I think, like, I'm not saying Baki's power scaling isn't exactly solid. Anyone who saw what happened to Hanayama recently in the manga should know that that doesn't make a lick of sense in a lot of ways. But yeah, Jack vs Katsumi would be such an interesting fight. Yeah. Well, that would be an interesting fight. I'd be very excited to see that fight, I will say. Who's your most anticipated god fighter? Mine's Anubis. Susanoo. Susanoo for me. I'm really, really excited to see Susanoo. I have a feeling that he is probably he's probably the strongest. I think he's the strongest remaining god. I think he's stronger than Odin. That is my hot take. So I'm very excited for him. In relation to the ads, oh yeah, first one, yeah, it's all. I don't know why it's doing that. If anyone else is getting ads come up, say in the chat. I'd have to look through the settings, my stream setups, and see if that's a thing. YouTube will just put ads on stuff without creators requesting it anyway, so it could just be YouTube being YouTube. New tournament manga premiered called Rekkyo Sensen, started this month. I like the concept so far. Another tournament manga, I'll have to check it out. I checked out the raws and the character looks sick and the setting is unique. Very interesting. I'm looking forward to this then. Toma Gozen is the reason I read Majo. Toma is pretty cool. I am a big fan of them. Do you want to check out what this new tournament? What was it called again? It was Rekkyo Sensen or something like that. Rekkyo Sensen. Rekkyo Sensen. Interesting. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. It looks pretty cool. Yeah. Let's have a look. That's something that we have to bring up though. Actually, is that the spear things? It turns out they're using a spear gets you killed more than being Greek, being a Greek god. Because remember, don't forget what Leonidas' Valkyrie's name means. It means like spear or some shit. So he's technically a spear user, and as usual, the spear users always lose, which is pretty funny. One thing I can critique about this fan base is their obsession with who wins rather than actually enjoying the fights. I feel like if you only care about the results, just don't bother reading. Yeah, I think that's the thing. A lot of the hatred people have for Qin Shi Huang. He's such a polarizing character in the fandom. A lot of it is because people don't like that Hades lost. As simple as that. And even if a lot of my I love Tesla a lot more than I like Beelzebub. Tesla's one of my favorite characters. I still like the round. Just because Tesla is the one who lost the fight doesn't mean I dislike the fight or it makes me hate Beelzebub or anything. If anything, I think Tesla's death is one of the strongest parts of the fight in his character. I don't think who wins and who loses should be the end-all, be-all of your enjoyment of the fight. It's the same as when people say stuff about Okuta is a waste of a space on the roster because he's another Japanese swordsman. I'm like, well, if all you care about is what country and what weapon a fighter uses, then what's the point of reading the series? Because I thought we read it for the stories and the fights themselves, not just from where the characters come from in history. It's just a bit of a weird thing to get fixated on, in my opinion. Would all the previous fights be ruined if the dead fighters come back, even if it's temporarily to defeat a bigger threat? Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, you'd have to see how the fight plays out, how it would happen. I couldn't say. It could be done really well. I don't think there's not many series where bringing back like bringing back dead characters I think works particularly well. I don't think it works particularly well in Naruto. The only series I can think of where it works really, really well, Undead Unluck does it, and it does it really, really well. And there's another. I can't think what it is. There's another series that does that as well, where they bring characters back to life. But they bring a character back to life, and it's really, really, really well done. And I cannot for the life of me think what series it is now. But yeah, it can be done well. I don't know if Record of Ragnarok would do it well, and I do think I wouldn't be particularly impressed if they all just got brought back, especially because a lot of their deaths are so powerful. Adam's and Tesla's, they have such powerful deaths to me that I think it'd be a bit of a waste if they were trampled on. Even if they eventually go back, even if it's briefly, just in one fight. I don't know about that. 16 countries compete with representatives to decide which one gets wiped out due to overpopulation. Interesting. Is that the premise of that? I've seen something similar. I've seen a Reddit post about that similarly, where they got a fighter from each country on the planet and made them fight, which is quite funny. They only hate Okuta because of supposed author bias, because the author wrote Requiem of Shogun. Yeah. People seem to hate for author bias, but I'm like, okay, as long as the character's well written, I don't care that much, to be completely honest with you. Do you know who Marie Curie was? I remember she was the one person I didn't recommend Tesla's friend group. Marie Curie was one of the great female scientists. She was very instrumental in a lot of radiation research with her husband, which sadly led to her death, because she obviously got she either got cancer from the radiation or just radiation sickness in general, which she passed. There is an element to Marie Curie named after her. She was an incredibly influential scientist, one of the greatest minds to ever live. So yeah, she was a very, very cool woman, her and her husband. Also, it was one of the house names at my school when I was a kid. We had Marie Curie. It was Marie Curie, Da Vinci, Somersville, and Kilby, named after the 4 historical figures. 16 countries message refers to Ragnarok Sense plot. Yeah, I was pretty sure that's what you were talking about. Yeah, thanks for clarifying. Can't wait for Okuta. He's the reason I read Ragnarok in the first place. When I saw his name in the roster, I was like, let's go. Yeah, I think Kentucky was the one I saw in the roster and I thought, let's go. Mainly due to Gintama, that was like the big reason. But yeah, I was really hyped when I saw Kentucky. Because I remember when I was reading, what is it, I think it's chapter 3 we get the roster reveal. Chapter 3, and I was looking through it and I was like, okay, these gods are pretty cool. And I looked at the humans, I was like, there's an absolute chance here. Like, I think it's Kentucky I was really excited for. Simo, I was mind blown he was actually in it, because Simo's such a cool character in history. I was so happy that he was in it. Jinji Huang I thought was a really interesting choice when I saw him come up. Mainly because when I'm thinking of him in the historical sense, he was just a bit of a crazed lunatic who killed himself by drinking mercury. Who else was on the roster I was really impressed by? Okuta, I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. Rasputin I found surprising, and Sasaki I was pretty excited to see fight. Adam was really cool as well. There wasn't many on the roster just from the names that I wasn't that hyped to see. Reiki Sensen has a British representative called Albert Hiddleston, which is the most British name ever. Yeah, it's a lot more British than my name, I'll tell you that much. I don't think it matters who wins, as long as the characters are cool, I'm happy. The only fight that actually made me mad was the Zeus fight, and I'm still mad about it. The thing is with the Zeus fight though is, like, we all know Adam won that, but I think I wouldn't want Adam to have won the fight, mainly because Adam's death is one of the best moments in the series for me. I think it's such a cool moment, and if Adam, how do I word this? Having the strongest human and the father of humankind die in the second round, it puts us. It's like the lowest point you can put humanity at before their first win. and I love that. I love Sasaki. I love round three. It's my favorite fight, and it's because of how well it shifts uh, from utter despair to the shining beam of light that humanity can win Ragnarok. I love round three. I gush about it a lot, but yeah, round three wouldn't be anywhere near as good as it is if if it wasn't for Adam's death. So that's why I like it quite a lot. Uh, I read Ragnarok because of Jack the Ripper. Oh yeah, Jack was on that roster. Yeah, Jack the Ripper was pretty hype on there too. My secondary school had a blue house, red house, green house, and yellow house. Your school did not have creative names. God, you need to get on. You need to phone them back up and tell them change your house names because that's just bad. I was part of Blue House and won the sports events every year. I was part of, I guess, my school's Green House, which was Kilby. Kilby was the inventor of the microchip. Pretty cool dude. And I did not win the sports events every year. Even though I wasn't an athletic guy, so I was just stealing valor. Fair enough, man. Fair enough. Oh, here's a question I want to ask chat. What other humans do you think could react to Apollo's bow? Because obviously, like Leonidas does it on instinct. What other characters do you think could actually react to that or counter it in any way? Because I'm really struggling, with the exception of like Atom could probably do it, Sasaki could probably do it, but I'm curious. Anybody else do you reckon could actually do it? Do you think any current human could have beaten Zeus? I think because Adam. The thing is, Adam only lost because his body gave out. That's what it came down to. And Adam, as the first human made in God's image, probably has like the greatest body. His body's probably the closest to perfection of any human. Meaning, even if any of the other humans could fight as fast and hard as Adam, I don't see any of them surviving as long as he did. So I don't think anyone could beat Zeus in a pure brawl, so it would probably have to be a more hacksy fighter. So I can't think of anyone off the top of my head that could do it. But if anyone has any good arguments for other humans beating Zeus, I'd love to hear them. I understand the narrative reason Adam lost. You can't go around having the strongest god lose in the second round, but I'm still mad about it. Oh yeah, I can appreciate how well written something is, and still be very upset about it. I think One Piece, for example, does that incredibly well. But yeah, Adam's death it gets me. It's one of the saddest moments of Ragnarok. It did get me emotional first time. That is an absolute chat. But much like with Tesla. His death inspired humanity, and that's the one thing, because obviously we had the iconic moment of all of humanity for the first time ever being united behind their father, and for a long time I heard everyone saying the second person to do this is going to be Leonidas. Everyone's going to be united by Leonidas, but no, it's Tesla. Tesla was the man to unite humanity for the second time, and I think that is sick as hell. Tesla probably could have. My thing with Tesla is, can Tesla can definitely tag Zeus. He can definitely get behind him and thing him. But my issue is that Tesla had to be very strategic in how he positioned Beelzebub to be able to attack him and stuff. And I just don't know if Zeus is going to let that happen. I think Zeus would just immediately start brawling. So I think Tesla has a chance, but I don't know if things would go his way, the same way with Beelzebub to give him a chance. And obviously remember, Tesla can only do his Tesla warp so many times. He's very limited with the amount of times he can do it. So, against a fighter with such durability and speed and strength as Zeus, I think it's going to come down to a stamina match. And I just don't think Tesla has the stamina or the resources to keep a fight up long enough to take Zeus out. I'm a third year university right now. University. Enjoy our third year. I assume third year is your final year. I know some courses are 4 years. So yeah, knuckle down. I think anyone else who went to uni can probably agree that first year or two is a bit of party time and not work, and then third year becomes absolute grind. But I wish you the best of luck with your studies. Do you think Hitler could have been on the roster, or is he too controversial? All I say is Drifters, which is loves to put his war criminals as heroes. Even they didn't have the balls to make Hitler a character. They just have him like show up as a painting. They don't even say his name. You know it's Hitler, but they don't even dare say his name. So I don't think would ever make it into Ragnarok. I think he's too much of a... I think it's too controversial. Will you make a video on Undead Unluck? I've never considered it. I definitely could. Maybe. Oh, that's a really good idea. I might make a video on Undead Unluck. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Hold me to that. I'll make a Undead Unluck video. I am trying to find more series to make videos on. Like I did a One Piece video yesterday. Did not get good viewership, I will admit. No one watched it. But I thought it was a pretty good video. It was on Garp and the tragedy of his character. So I might start doing some more One Piece videos too. But basically, I'll do one or two and see if these other ones flop. I'll probably stop doing them. But you know, yeah, an Undead Unluck video sounds really fun. I was screaming when Sasaki won. Oh, I was overjoyed when Sasaki won. It's such a, especially how he does it. It's like his first proper attack of the fight, and he just kills him. It's sick as hell. I love round 3 so much. Undead Unluck is one of my fave mangas. Undead Unluck is such an underrated manga. It's so good. It does I'm not going to spoil it for anyone, don't worry. It does a time skip like kind of it. It isn't a time skip, but it's kind of like a time skip. And like everything up until that is really, really good. And then somehow it gets like 5 times better once this time skippy thing happens, and it's so creative. It has such an interesting power system. It has such an interesting world building. The two main leads are so well written. Anyone who hasn't read Undead Unluck, just give it a read, or I guess watch it because the anime's airing at the moment and the anime's pretty good. I guess one thing I will say about the series is it's definitely one of those series where there's a point where it gets really good. Like I would say the first few chapters aren't that strong, but then once you get to a certain point, it just gets really good. So I highly recommend it. Beelzebub can put up his shield in time. Maybe Simo could dodge the arrow since he has experience of long-range weapons. I don't know, maybe. I think speculating on Simo, a character we haven't seen yet. There's only so much we can do. It's possible. I'm just saying, watch Simo fight with that. Watch Simo be a melee fighter. It's going to happen. You know, he's going to use a spear. Actually, he's going to have a spear, and then he's going to lose his match. Why are you screaming? You like Sasaki? Why are you screaming? You like Sasaki winning? Sasaki's win was so well written. I think Sasaki's my goat. Good. Everyone loves Sasaki winning. Brilliant. I'm glad my audience is Sasaki lovers, because generally in the fandom, Sasaki's not that popular of a character. People don't seem to like round 3 much, it's all those Poseidon simps, I imagine. Sasaki is such a well-written character. He was my favourite Record Ragnarok character for a long time. He's still top 5, but he has fallen a bit behind. I think Adam, Buddha, and Tesla are all above him now, so he's probably number 4, but I still think he's a very well-written character. You've got to make a Sakamoto Days video. The manga is the definition of hype. The thing with a Sakamoto Days video is, Sakamoto Days is a really, really good really good manga. I just don't know what about it I would want to make a video on, if that makes sense. 1 minute, I've got to let my cat out. Oh. There you go, so. So I'll see what I can do about Sakamoto Days video. I'm just not entirely sure what I would do the video on, but it's definitely a possibility. Tesla should be able to just barely counter Zeus' attacks. When he uses the punch to surpass his time, Tesla's cooked. Yeah, can Tesla even tank that? I mean, Tesla tanks Chaos, so I don't think it'd one-shot him. But yeah, I wouldn't. I think he's got a chance. I just don't know if I'd be betting on Tesla. Drifters was good. I watched it because of Helsing. Yeah, it's been so long since we got season 1 of Drifters. I know there was an OVA. There's some OVAs afterwards, but I don't know when season 2 is going to come out. But yeah, Drifters is pretty good. I'm a sucker for lazy slackers like Shunsui, Kiraku, and Hatsumi Sen, and Saki being similar to that archetype just hits me. Yeah, Hatsumi's a great character. Yeah, it's pretty fun. Yeah, Sasaki. I love the bit where Sasaki just kind of just sits down with his sword. It doesn't make much sense because I know it's the end of a chapter and he just gets up immediately at the beginning of the next chapter. But you know, it's pretty fun. Do you read visual novels? Not much. I'm in the process of reading Stay Night, Fate Stay Night, because I've been meaning to do that for absolutely ages. Is to actually read the Fate visual novels. So I am doing that, but I need to get into it a bit more. Oh. We're probably going to have to call stream soonish. Sorry, I've got a busy schedule at the moment and I didn't have much time for this stream, so you're lucky that you got it today. But I guess if anyone has any final thoughts on the chapter or any final questions, fire away, because I'll probably try to wrap up in about 5 minutes. I think that's what we're going to go for. Yes, a Hatsumi fan, definitely my favourite fighter and a compelling character. Yeah, Hatsumi is an absolute chad. Do you read JJK? I do read JJK. I've got a few JJK videos out on the channel if you want to check them out. But yeah, JJK is interesting at the moment. Last chapter was heartbreaking. JJK makes you feel... I'm not going to spoil it for anyone, don't worry, I'm not going to do any JJK spoilers, but something happens with a certain character last chapter, and it's heartbreaking. It's absolutely heartbreaking, very sad. One of the more compelling characters in Kengan. Yeah, Kengan has... yeah, he's up there. Yeah, because he actually has some very interesting... yeah, Kengan has so many good characters to it. My personal favourite is my boy... what's his name? Himuro, or Himuru, because he stands among legends. Gaolong versus Apollo. If we're going actual scaling, I'd assume Apollo would just punch his head off. But that would be a fun. If we scaled their stats somewhat equally, I think that'd be really fun. Especially because Gaolong also has his Muay and stuff. But then if we brought what's his name in? What's his name? The other boxer, the boxer that beats Gaolong in Purgatory. I can't think of his name. That guy, he'd beat Apollo, no question. He'd get him in the ring out. What would the ending have looked like if Leo won? And would there have been any way for that to happen? I guess Leo could have won. Basically, if the shield had held, basically it just comes down to if Apollo's fist hadn't broken the shield, I think Leo probably could have won then. I think it was a really close fight. It just came down to one attack being stronger than the other. So, Misasa is definitely underrated. Favourite Fang on Metsudo. Oh yeah, Misasa is an absolute chat because he counters with his elbows like an absolute chat. I'm not the biggest fan of Agito. I know that might piss people off, but yeah, I love him. Best is bloody what's his name? He has the mask on. He wasn't. I'm forgetting my. God, which Fang of Metsudo was Agito? He was the 5th? Or was he the 6th? Agito, Kengan. Which Metsudo? Which Fang was he? Tell me. I'd like to know. The wiki's not helping me out here at all. 5th Fang. He's the 5th Fang. Yeah, the 7th Fang, which is that random bodyguard, because he just got randomly dropped just a couple of chapters ago. Oh, this guy just was the Fang in between. I found that very funny. It was a great round. My top 3 fights in Ragnarok. It's a bit too soon for me to say where it's placed in mine. It's definitely in the upper half. I really enjoyed it. Have you seen Broken Ronin's Record of Ragnarok roster video? Their roster is pretty good. I've probably seen it at some point. I think he's put a few roster videos out before. I think he had Simo versus Odin in his. I wouldn't say I agree. If it's the one I'm thinking of, I don't agree with most of his matchups. But I think any matchup is pretty interesting. Carlos Mendes. That's who I'm saying. I'm an Agato hater too. I wouldn't say I'm an Agato hater. All I will say is I was really rooting for Jurito in their fight. I'll say that much. Agato was the 5th. Mask Guy was 7th. Yeah, Mask Guy. I can't remember his name. Yeah, Mask Guy's really funny because like we're like, who's this mystery Fang that we haven't seen? And then it's just randomly dropped in like a throwaway line chapter. Oh yeah, he was just a Fang. He was just the 7th Fang for a while, which is quite funny. Okay, well, if we're going to end stream up, we can at least let the part of the stream. We lost, guys. Us Leonidas fans lost, and that's a real shame. But hopefully I'll do him justice when I do the round 9 analysis. Thanks you all for watching the stream. We'll be back probably next for this fan roster prediction stream. Or I don't predict, our fan roster stream. So I will hopefully see you all then. Also, spoilers, second connector is hypothetical. Yeah, the second connector is pretty cool. I'll stop dropping questions when I'm about to end the stream. I wish Odin Nobunaga was in Ragnarok. Him fighting Hajun for the title of Demon Lord of the Sixth Heaven. Both shit. Yeah, that'll be pretty fun too. Okay, so sorry I've got to go, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next stream where we will do a fan roster for